we can now send American astronauts into space.
We have all wondered when these two would fall out, but could anyone have predicted that when it did happen, it would spiral so fast?
Hello, welcome to Media Watch. I'm Linton Besser. And yes, millions around the world watched on slack-jawed as the world's most famous palathon came to its ugly end last week.
The bromance, it's well and truly over.
It appears the bromance is over.
Trump-Musk bromance.
Bromance, this bromance.
The end of the bromance.
The psychodrama playing out in real time amid a fusillade on social media.
Jesus Christ.
But I'm just staying out of the Trump-Elon thing. That's way outside my lane.
What the fuck are they doing?
And providing a rich source of protein for headline writers everywhere.
I hate my ex.
Big, beautiful breakup.
The spectacle of two clownish billionaires, one a president, the other a providor of rocket ships, setting fire to bureaucracy, resetting the world order and pretending their friendship was anything other than transactional. I mean, who could have predicted it was going to end like this? Everyone.
There can be only one, and that's going to be Donald Trump.
Elon Musk is Donald Trump's peach right now, and the peach is ripening, but you know what happens with fruit like this. It gets stale and moldy very quickly.
Elon did indeed quickly moulder, busy as he was, riding roughshod over Republican grandees and riding high.
This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy.
On his own supply.
He was taking so much ketamine, a powerful anaesthetic, that it was affecting his bladder.
Musk denied this report, and when the White House announced the departure of the Department of Government Efficiency architect, Trump handed his chum the Booby Prize, a golden key. But Elon Musk, previously charged with putting a scythe through government spending, began firing shells at Donald Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Bill, which will increase America's debt ceiling by up to $5 trillion and at his signature tariffs policy. On Thursday US time, Trump finally erupted.
Elon was wearing thin. I took away his EV mandate and he just went crazy. The easiest way to save money in our budget is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts.
Which amount to $5.5 billion a year, but the bloke has 100 times that under his mattress, which might be why Elon Musk was very relaxed about hitting back, chastising Donald for his lack of manners.
Without me, Trump would have lost the election. Such ingratitude.
And tossing in this little grenade for good measure.
Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT.
Have a nice day? Musk later rethought this sweet but uncorroborated claim and deleted the tweet. Perhaps most stark about this wee spat was the speed at which we all knew what was going on. While the skirmishes that occur inside other governments might only be brought to light by diligent correspondence, these blows were being traded on public platforms the combatants both happen to own, raising questions about whether these really are social networks or,
when it comes to their mega-rich, mega-wealthy owners, simply megaphones to holler at the world.
And at such volume that other consequential world events are for many completely drowned out, like the issuing of sanctions by the White House against 4 judges of the International Criminal Court, a barrage of deadly Russian strikes on Ukraine, and China's sale of propellant to Iran for ballistic missiles. Elon Musk and Donald Trump are not just financially wealthy or politically powerful. In the internet age, they are also influence-rich, beyond the wildest dreams of former tycoons and presidents, with a direct line to hundreds of millions of people consuming news in snack-sized portions. So simply by firing from the hip, they can drive the public conversation in any direction they choose, sharpening ever more the crisis of relevance engulfing much of the press. And now to the land of the long white cloud via this feel-good travel show broadcast on Channel 7.
I'm Troy Gray and welcome to New Zealand. Over the next 5 days, we'll spend most of our time in Auckland and the surrounding areas.
Adventure All Stars, also streamed on 7plus, is hosted by former AFL journeyman Troy Gray and takes charity workers on journeys of personal growth in which they overcome physical challenges in spectacular locations.
If you're thinking about doing this, then please go ahead and do it. You will never regret it.
I could summarise this exact trip as an absolutely powerhouse of emotions.
Troy Gray, who in the 1990s donned a Guernsey for the Sydney Swans and the St Kilda Saints, parlayed his football fame and bold personality into a media career as an announcer on commercial radio and sports presenter on Channel 9 News in Adelaide. But Gray's star reached its zenith with Adventure All Stars, in which he raises money for charity.
We've created a proven, groundbreaking fundraising project for charities worldwide.
Since 2019, Gray has boasted of raising millions for domestic violence, animal welfare and mental health causes through what is, it must be said, a rather interesting operating model. To get onto the show, each charity worker must themselves raise $10,000. It's only once Troy Gray's outfit takes its cut that the charities get what's left, or at least they're meant to.
Ex-AFL star leaves DV victims in lurch.
Adelaide Magistrates Court has ordered Gray, host of Channel 7's Adventure All Stars, pay more than $60,000 to the Broken Crayon Still Colour Foundation.
The Adelaide Advertiser tore away the veil last month, reporting a default judgment against Gray's company after a lawsuit brought against it by a domestic violence charity whose founder, Rach Mack, told the paper,
"We were raising that money to create our third safe haven for survivors. We can't do that because Troy Gray hasn't paid."
And if stiffing a DV charity wasn't bad enough, a week later there was more bad news for the Channel 7 star.
9 charities from around Australia say they are owed more than $370,000 by former AFL footballer Troy Gray. The charities, which aid people living with illness, survivors of exploitation and animals, say their work has been significantly affected by not receiving the money.
2 weeks ago, Gray's company was placed into liquidation with 24 charities which provide everything from cancer support to emergency shelter, claiming they've been left high and dry. Rebecca Miller claims her charity, which rehomes greyhounds, is owed more than $100,000. She says she trusted Troy Gray because of his association with Channel 7.
It looked legit. We watched some previous shows, so we thought it was above board.
In July last year, things came to a head. Gray missed another deadline to repay money he owed, and 7 told him it wasn't going to pick up a new season of his show. Gray circulated a private video message to several aggrieved charities.
"I know you're disappointed. I want to correct this soon and put a smile back on your face and put a smile back on my face too."
No one, it seems, is smiling, because instead of being repaid the money, several charities have now filed complaints with police and regulators against Troy Gray and his company, Charity TV Global. We asked Troy Gray what happened. He told us,
"I worked tirelessly to secure new sponsors and brand partners to help bridge the gap, but despite my efforts, support didn't materialise in time."
Rach Mack told Media Watch she had twice complained to Channel 7 in February and August last year to alert them to these irregularities. Despite this, Troy Gray's TV show remained online until last week, that is, when we sent questions to Channel 7.
Adventure All Stars is no longer available on 7plus. 7 did not pay Charity TV Global for any seasons of Adventure All Stars.
Troy Gray might have had noble intentions in creating his reality TV show, and his is certainly not the first media venture to find itself in too deep with creditors. But when those creditors are charities devoted to good works, it's a rather more tawdry episode, isn't it? With Channel 7 surely ruining its decision to have ever lent Gray its precious brand. Now to sad news in the top end.
A family's heartache over the death in custody of a young Warlpiri man from Yuendumu, now referred to as Kumanjai White.
Hear us! This cannot keep going.
2 weeks ago, a 24-year-old intellectually disabled Aboriginal man died after being restrained by plainclothes police in an Alice Springs supermarket. His awful death was the top story on the ABC's local news that night.
NT Police are investigating, with the Coles supermarket tonight shut to customers and declared a crime scene.
It remains unclear as to what exactly occurred. Witnesses told the NT News a police officer had placed his knee behind the man's head, even as his friends called out a warning that he had a disability. The family have demanded the footage of the incident be released, while police claim Kumanjai White had assaulted a security guard who'd caught him cashing items in his clothing.
The male behaved rather aggressively and was placed onto the ground by those police officers. He was later identified as losing consciousness.
Kumanjai White died 70 minutes later. Across Australia, there had already been 12 Indigenous deaths in custody in just the first 5 months of this year, which is why the ABC has been absolutely right to give this story full-throated coverage, with developments in the case leading the Darwin news night after night, as a family mourned and calls for an inquiry gathered pace.
An independent investigation may be warranted.
Member for Lingiari Marion Scrimgeour also joined those calls today, calling for federal police officers to conduct the investigation.
Meanwhile, the despairing and the outraged joined rallies that moved from the top end to capital cities around the country. The ABC took the issue national, featuring it on its breakfast news program, and both SBS and Sky News also recognised this story's importance, including in its echoes of another death in custody.
The man who was killed last week, or who died last week, he's from Yuendumu, the same community where Kumanjai Walker was shot dead in 2019.
But the millions of Australians who rely on free-to-air commercial TV for their breakfast news and primetime evening bulletins have been left in the dark, with not a whisper we could find of Kumanjai White's brutal passing, not on Sunrise, not on Today, and not on any of the main evening bulletins broadcast by all three commercial networks, including 7 News in Melbourne and 10 News in Melbourne. And why have we singled out Victoria's capital? Because all last week, both 7 and 10 beamed their Melbourne news into the Northern Territory, having pulled the plug on their Darwin Bulletin and Darwin Bureau years ago. Channel 9, which extinguished its Darwin Bulletin only 5 months ago, also missed the story, even though it promised in February that it would
retain a reporter and camera operator on the ground to tell the Territory's stories to a national audience.
Now it seems 9 is struggling to fulfil even this meagre commitment, because we've confirmed its last staff reporter in the Territory has left and not been replaced. A spokesperson for 9 told us
9 remains committed to finding a viable long-term solution for a news presence in the Northern Territory. As we evolve our business to reflect the commercial realities of news gathering, we are working through resourcing and hope to have a resolution soon.
But might there be some positive news on the commercial TV front? Because last month, 7 announced it was acquiring TV licences from Southern Cross Media across a sweep of regional Australia, including for South Australia, far western New South Wales and, yes, for Darwin. Although it might also be worth noting that 7 West Media's press announcement contained no mention of any ambition to open new bureau or tell more local stories. Instead, its focus was on
our valued advertising partners and media buyers will be able to seamlessly reach and target these new and attractive audiences.
How very heartening. Over the weekend, and after we sent questions to the commercial networks, 7 and 10 developed an interest in Kumanjai White's death, with both networks publishing stories about his passing, the protests it prompted, and about yet another Indigenous death in custody, again in the NT, recorded just 48 hours ago. On this program, we examine poor journalism and lazy journalism, but for the very many in the NT who rely on free-to-air commercial news, the picture is even more troubling, because they're getting very little journalism altogether, not even about our most abiding national shame. And that's all from us tonight. Be sure to check us out on ABC iView as well as X, YouTube and Facebook. You can find full statements on our website, and don't forget to send us your tips. I'll see you next week.